Okay, so let's continue this Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, and we're in the Siman 72, same subject. It's it's very long subject, preparation for Shabbos, of course. Okay, so let's see, read the next one. And it says, since one may not cook on Shabbos, it is a mitzvah to store hot food before Shabbos in a manner that will preserve the warmth. Okay. In order to honor and enjoy Shabbos by eating the hot dish on Shabbos. Sirma 257.8. In the following 5 Seifim, Kitzur discusses how one may permissibly go about setting aside this food for Shabbos, and how the food may be removed from the source of the heat in a manner that does not violate any laws of Shabbos. In Kitzur's time, it was common to leave the food in an oven that would retain the heat into Shabbos. Kitzur focuses on that practice. With regard to the dish, on that practice. So now, it was a little introduction. So let's read without commentaries and then we explain. Okay, and it says, with regard to the dishes that are being cooked for Shabbos, one must take care to remove them from coals in which they are being cooked before Shabbos. If one forgot and did not remove the pot from the coals, then if he comes on Shabbos to take out the pot, and there are burning coals around it, situated in such a manner that if he takes the pot out, he will also move the coals, it is forbidden for a Jew to take it out. It is permitted, however, to have removed it from the coals in the hands of idolater. Okay, so as we understand, it's not simple. Okay, how does it apply to us? The stoves, as we learned in our class of Shabbos kitchen, usually we don't use stoves. Friday night, yes, but on a day that's too much, too bigger of a headache. Okay, let's do from the beginning and see the commentary and explain. Since one may not cook on Shabbos, commentary, the prohibition of cooking on Shabbos is prohibited by the melacha bishul. Mevashal cooking or baking, oife. And discuss further in chapter 80. Okay, no problem. Okay, so bishul, mevashal. No problem. Okay, so one cannot cook on Shabbos. We spoke about many times. One of the 39 melachos. So what did they cook? They cooked what they cook. They cook the dice, right? The dice in order to dye the skins, in order to dye the wool. Okay, so that's why it is forbidden. So it said again, one may not cook on Shabbos. It is a mitzvah to store hot food before Shabbos in a manner will preserve warmth, in order to honor and enjoy Shabbos by eating the hot dish of Shabbos. So, and that's actually halacha, right? A person must have or preferably have one warm dish on Shabbos. Okay, so that's why we use these crack pots, right, to leave the food there. Right, but in olden days they had something similar, right? They had the stove, right, like oven, and they would be wood oven or coal, right? Doesn't matter. Some would use wood, some would use coals, right? But in order for it cooked better, so how do they regulate? Today we add more gas, less gas, but in olden days there were not such a thing. So they would, if you want to like a mock it, so we would draw these coals right next to the pot, as close as possible. So of course now it would be very hot. And if you wanted like to lower the temperature, you would push away to the side, so it would be not as close to the pot. So I mean, it would be hot, but not as hot. So I mean, to regulate like this, it's like always I cannot understand how it was possible to prepare something like that. I mean, to cook in general, yes, but something delicious, like it's big art. Like today we set the oven to this and this degree, right, and that's it. It's just going to keep this temperature. But in olden days, the coals you move in out, big deal. Okay, so let's go back. So this introduction says that we should have at least one hot dish on Shabbos. Okay. So Friday night, of course, it's easy. So the problem is with the morning. Okay. In the following 5 Seifim, Kitzur discusses how one permissibly go about setting aside food for Shabbos. So food meaning hot, and how the food may be removed from the source of heat in a manner that does not violate the laws of Shabbos. So meaning what? Meaning what? So what we said here, I mean, we're going to say now. So if we remove the coal, if it touches the coal, so it can easily extinguish, or opposite, get more hotter, right? Because we move together out, because of, that's why it is forbidden to move the coals, right? From the source. Okay, continue. In Kitzur time, it was common to leave the food in the oven that would retain the heat onto Shabbos, right? At least till the morning. So Kitzur focuses on this practice, common to it. Today, in modern ovens, hot plates, crack pots, etc., various other methods are used to keep food hot on Shabbos. Meaning what? I mean, ovens, modern ovens, I'm not sure. Right. So, I mean, once, like, when our oven almost died, so we were looking for a replacement because it was too old. So we went to the kosher store. We have a kosher store, like appliance store, like three stories, like all of them. I mean, I think all of them most of them was with a Shabbos mode. I think most of, not all of them, but most of them were with Shabbos mode. So we asked this guy, like a salesperson, like, what is this so special, like oven? I could not understand, like how is it possible? Because oven keeps the temperature, right? Once you open the door, the cold air, it's sure it's colder than inside. Cold air enters in, and it's like in flames. Like how it's going to work. I mean, he explained how it works. So we decided it's not worth it. I mean, I think it was for one time to open it. That's it. I don't know. It did not worth it. Okay. So again. So today with modern ovens, hot plates. Hot plates, I guess, is the most commonly used. Crack pots also. Like a crack pot, you can do soup, for example. Right, stew, whatever you want to do. Right, it's going to keep the temperature, and plus it's not going to overcook, and plus you can use timer with that thing, right, to switch it off. So, okay, crack pots, various other methods are used to keep the food hot on Shabbos. For each method, one must ensure that no laws of Shabbos be violated. So, meaning both when preparing the food for a hot storage, and when taking it out to serve. I mean, we're not going to explain all this in details, but so some things actually we're allowed to put in a crack pot, for example, to cook. So if it cooks somewhat, before Shabbos, so it is allowed. There is no problem. We can. It is allowed to leave it, so it's going to cook over Shabbos. For example, if if we put before Shabbos, a few hours before Shabbos, you put the beans. Beans are not going to be cooked in 2 hours, right? And you put meat, red meat. It's not going to get cooked so fast. So meaning what? That you're not going to open the lid, not going to do anything for until the morning, because it does not make sense, right? It cooks on its own, right? So in some sense, are you cooking Shabbos, but you started the process before that. I mean, in our house we don't do that. So we have a simple approach. Simple approach that we cook everything before Shabbos and put in this crock pot. It's not going to spoil. It's not going to overcook. Nothing. So even if it's completely cooked, 100% cooked, so it's going to maintain it hot. That's it. Okay. So what else related to? Okay. Continue. For the further discussion of this reader refers to Shabbos Kitchen, right? Rabbi Cohen, Simcha Bunim Cohen, published in 1991. Whoa. I mean, whatever we were using is actually updated edition from I don't know, 5 years ago or something, 7 years ago, right? Okay. And actually, and plus Torah Milachas, Rabbi David Ribiat, is God safer. So we actually learn from this rabbi this laws of Yichud, right? Volume 2. Okay. Consult. Okay. Continue. So they say consult halachik authorities. So I mean, it's not our topic. Continue. With regard to the dishes that are being cooked on for Shabbos, one must take care to remove them from the coals in which they are cooked before Shabbos, right? So yeah, when you're cooking, of course you're going to use coals, but you have to push the coals away from the pot. Meaning when you open the door and you need to take out the pot, so the coals are not going to be on the way, right? So commentary says there are two possible issues that may arise with regarding to stowing a pot in the coals on Shabbos. First, as we will discuss in CF 20, so I mean like 3 CFM from now, it is prohibited to insulate the hot food before Shabbos in material that increases the heat, the heat of the food, and most certainly in a live coals, since this could lead to a person inadvertently to stroke the coals on Shabbos and hasten the cooking. Okay, let's stop here. So let's now it's very, very detailed and we have to explain. So they say, what's the problem with taking out the pot? When they take out the pot, even before the taking out the pot, so we're not there is one melacha, one of the 39 melachas that we're not allowed to insulate. So insulate, it's actually coals is an insulation. I mean, I'm not sure exactly how they would do coals. In my mind, the way I understood, they would not put the pot completely in coals. It's not up to almost half or three quarters. I don't think so. But when we're talking about insulation, the insulation means from all of the sides, and with heat retaining material. For sure, coals are heat retaining material, right? And one second. Right, and it's a first problem. So you're not allowed to insulate, and you're not allowed to use this food. And second problem, right? So when a person would take it out, this pot from coals, so he inadvertently stroke coals, right? And hasten the cooking. So it's not allowed to cook on Shabbos, and it's not allowed to add heat, right? So wherever you hit the level you said, there is no problems before Shabbos, so let it be continuous. So when you stroke the coals, when you moving from place to place, they start burning hotter, and there is a problem. There is a problem, right? And why is the problem? Especially when there is a food, but because you're cooking. Igniting is one problem. He did not mention, maybe he's going to mention further. Igniting the coals is one problem, and plus when there is more heat, it's cook faster, and cooking is not allowed, right? And also you say even if it's going to overcook, does not matter, right? It's not allowed. See Mishnah Berurah 257-47 and Shar Tziyun chapter 45 for the further discussions of when the prohibition would apply. Okay. Second, the Kitzur will state here, by removing the pot, the coals will move, right? Cause the coals to become extinguished, right? And the other become ignited. So, and as we learned, did we learn or not? We did not get to it, but there are two separate. I don't remember. Apologize. I don't remember if we learned or not. So there are two separate melachas. One is to create in fire, and one extinguishing the fire. Two separate melachas. So with this moving coals, one of them he would, let's say, crush completely and would extinguish, but other because he moved from side to side, so now ignite. So that's a big issue. So meaning not allowed to take it out. Although it is not entirely clear with which prohibition Kitzur is concerned at this point, both of these issues will be avoided by removing the pot from coals before Shabbos. So meaning we still keep the pot inside, but surrounded by coals which do not touch. Okay. I mean, so it's not going to be like boiling hot, but pretty hot. Okay, continue. So see below 85. The Kitzur there writes that on Shabbos, one may not even wrap the pot in a material that do not increase the heat of the food. We're going to see, I mean, completely you're not allowed to wrap, as we learned in our class kosher kitchen, but not kosher Shabbos kitchen. But if it's like partially, for example, you wrap something from all of the sides, there is no problem. All of the sides, but not from the top. Or you wrap it, but it's not tight; it's loose. Okay. But I think we said if I mean he's using the stricter opinion that even with material that do not increase. I think we're going to see when we get to it. I think we can go by the more lenient opinion that if the material do not increase the heat, we actually allowed. There is such opinion. I don't remember who said it, but we can allow it. So for example, in a summer when you don't want it too much heat and stuff like that, so you don't want to store something in the oven, so you can warm up something a lot, and then wrap it in blanket or put it between the pillows or something, like all the old-fashioned way, and it's going to stay warm. I mean, for a few hours for sure, right? But this material they like just contain the what is it, the temperature. It's going to drop for sure, but not as fast. That's the only difference. Okay, 74. If one forgot and did not remove the pots from the coals, so now meaning right. So if he's going to move and he's going to ignite some coals, so now so he transgressed the prohibition of bishul, cooking, right, and plus igniting the coals, and inevitably he's going to extinguish some coals. So at least three melachas, right? So that's and they all are biblical, all biblical. If one forgot and did not remove the pots from the coals, meaning it's surrounded, then if there comes on Shabbos to take the pot, and there are burning coals around it. So meaning if there are ashes, there is a difference, right? But burning coals around it, situated in such a manner that if he takes the pot, he will also move the coals. I mean, it's unless the way I understand, unless they're on a side on the back of the oven, then for sure you're going to move them. There is no other way, right? So of course that's our preparation on Shabbos, and that's in the halachic sense is when we put blech on fire, right? So we say that we show like our attention that we're not going to cook, right? So we're not going to cook. So in the Talmud, I think in the Talmud they give two options how to store the food. You take out the coals completely from the stove, so meaning for sure you're not going to do anything. There is no coals. It's still hot. It's very hot, but you close, right? You close the door, so it's hot inside. Or what do? You put ashes. So you put aside the coals and put ashes. So you're saying I don't want to to do anything with the coals. So whatever temperature is there, I'm fine, and I'm not planning on cooking. Okay, two things. So now. Right, so our blech is actually going by second opinion, meaning they're coals, they're hot, but I cover them and I show that my intention not to cook. Okay. So one second, burning coals. And the burning coals is allowed, situated in such manner that if one takes the pot out, he will also move the coals. It is forbidden for a Jew to take it out. Commentary. When the coals will result, the coals on the top become extinguished, right? The melacha of extinguishing, mechabeh, and those on the bottom become stirred and thereby become more ignited. So melacha malvi'ir, mavir. Meaning kindling. Okay, so on top we extinguish, on the bottom we ignite. Continue. 1 second. It is permitted, however, to have it removed from the coals at the hands of idolater. So meaning ask a non-Jew. I'm not sure we're going to see. Is it allowed to ask him in the direct way? Let's see. I think so, but let's see. Although it is generally forbidden to have idolater to perform melacha for a Jew, in certain cases where melacha that is performed is not intended for action, is not intended purpose of the action, but only the unintended outcome, it is permitted. Let's so it's halachic language. So again, although in general it's forbidden for idolater to perform melacha for a Jew. That's the general rule. We said many times, whatever we are not allowed to do, we're not allowed to ask non-Jew to do. There are exceptions. There are many exceptions, and in some cases we would ask them in indirect way, imply, not ask, imply in indirect way. In some cases we can ask them directly, but it could not be biblical melacha, right? Even though we said all of the three is biblical melacha, so I think now we refine the term biblical melacha, meaning when a melacha is done for its own sake, meaning for its own sake with the coals. That we need coals, but in this case we don't need coals. So when they were kindled at the fire, meaning they would kindle coal, right, pieces of wood, and they would extinguish it. Extinguish to make coals out of charcoals, right, from these pieces of wood. So the next time when you want to burn them, they're going to burn much hotter, right, than regular wood. And extinguishing is, of course, for constructive purpose. Why? Because you need these charcoals. But in this case, it's not. I mean, it's even though it's not intention of this non-Jew to create the charcoals, and he just want to take it out. It's for the purpose of food, so we can rely on this leniency. So okay, in certain cases when melacha that is performed is not for intended purpose of action. So right, that's what I said. Even if he's going to extinguish, it's not like he wants to extinguish. Even if it's something would become hotter, it's not that he does not need that, right? But only for unintended outcome, right? It is permitted. Okay, so see below 80, chapter 27. Okay, we're going to get to it. We're on 72 now. In this case, one may instruct the idolater to remove the pot. Okay, instruct meaning the straightforward. Since the intention of the action is to remove the pot from the oven, any kindling or extinguishing of the coal that may occur is only an intended outcome. So, but for Jews, it's still not allowed. But to ask a non-Jew would be allowed. So it's very interesting halachas. Checking time. Okay, so let's do one more. Introduction is 3 times longer than halacha itself. Let's see. The sages forbade leaving uncooked food. Okay, here we go. Over the open flame or a burning coals before Shabbos, in order that it cooked on Shabbos. The prohibition was enacted due to the concern that the food is left over fire. A person may inadvertently adjust the fire on Shabbos. So that's the thing. Or to hasten the cooking process. It is permitted, however, to leave food in a hot oven before Shabbos, to cook on Shabbos, if the coals have been shoveled, right? Shoveled out, meaning removed, from the oven before Shabbos, meaning that even like a person is not like that. There is no way for the person to make the cooking process faster. How? Okay, there are no coals. Okay, so that's why it is safe way. So he cannot stroke the lamb later. Okay, even if the coals are not removed, if one covers them the coals with ashes, exactly as we said, so they are blanket. Tuma, right before Shabbos, thereby partially extinguishing them. Of course, I mean because you cover there is no access to oxygen as much, right? It is also permitted to leave the food in the oven. Minimizing the flame serves the indication that he has no need for the heat of coals, and thus he will not inadvertently to stroke them later. Meaning that there is a reminder, so there is these coals are covered with ashes. Okay. Another method of ensuring that one does not adjust the flame is to leave the food in the oven and seal the oven door. Right. This too permits one to leave the food over the fire to cook on Shabbos. There are cases, however, when neither of these methods is required. The Kitzur explained the following two seifim. So now it was introduction. Now we're going to Kitzur and we're going to review with commentaries and explanations. Regarding the practice that we store food to be cooked in an oven for the Shabbos day meal, it is a common custom, even though the opening of the oven is not sealed. Opening of the oven is not sealed, literally smeared with clay. It is permitted practice. It is forbidden to open the oven door at night because perhaps there are pots inside, those whose content are not fully cooked. And by subsequently closing the oven door, the temperature will rise, and he will cause further cooking. Meaning what? The oxygen is going to go in, right, and it's going to ignite the flame. Okay, so but as you understand, it's a lot of information. Okay, from the beginning, and we try to explain. The sages forbade. So again, our topic is cooking on Shabbos. Meaning we're not allowed to cook on Shabbos on one hand. So, but if we're going to start process before Shabbos and leave it be, and we're not going to touch, we're not going to accelerate. What does it mean accelerate? I'll accelerate through any means. Accelerate through the heat, right? To add the heat. meaning move the coals closer, to move the pot to the hotter area, or accelerate the heat is what removing the content. So if it was like a huge pot and it cooks slowly, of course, but if you remove 1/3 of it or half of it, guess what? It's going to cook much faster. It's also acceleration of the cooking process. Or third method is to stir. So usually you have to stir from time to time, because on the bottom, when the temperature is hotter, it's going to cook faster, but on top it's not so much. So you have to stir. It's or for example, if it did not have a lid, close with a lid, also it is going to accelerate cooking. Right, so our sages concern here, at least here, what we're talking about, this first thing is like to increase the temperature of the cooking. So meaning that would not be tempted to do anything to accelerate, at least in this sieve, with the heat. Okay. So okay. The sages forbid leaving uncooked food over the open flame or burning coals before Shabbos. So technically, even though it says here like this, so technically, if a person does not have blech for whatever reason, right, and they left food without blech on open flame, you have a gas stove, for example, right? So it is allowed to keep this food on this open flame, even though it's not cooked. So I mean, if it's not and it's not going to be ready until the morning. I mean, it's after the fact, but there is such opinions. It's possible if a person is not going to open, not going to stir, not going to move, right? So because they started before Shabbos, so it's there are different opinions, like how much it should be cooked, 1/3 or one half. Right, some say even like if it's very raw, so it's not going to be ready till the morning, so you can leave it even put it on a flame before Shabbos. But I mean, I'm just trying to explain this first line. So it's not exactly as they said, but technically, practically yes, but there are some exceptions. Again, the sages forbade leaving uncooked food over on open flame or a burning coals. So I mean, it's the same before Shabbos, in order that it cook on Shabbos. Okay. This prohibition was enacted due to the concern that the food be left on fire. Person may inadvertently adjust the fire on Shabbos to hasten the cooking process, and not even hasten. I mean, hasten meaning to add the temperature, but not even. But for example, if a person understands that it's being burned, so he wants to reduce the flame, also not allowed, because it is extinguishing. Okay. Right. So that's perform melacha is adding flame. Ma'avir, igniting, or oife, baking, or mevashel, cooking. Okay, so meaning, so all of these are forbidden. It is permitted, however, to leave the food in a hot oven before Shabbos to cook on Shabbos. So we're talking about cooking on Shabbos. We're not talking about warming up on Shabbos. So just so we understand, not warming up and not storing the cooked food, right? Cooked, but you want to keep it warm. If you're talking about cooking on Shabbos, so is it allowed to cook on Shabbos? Yes, but there are special considerations, right? Cook on Shabbos if the coals have been shoveled. So meaning if person completely remove the coals before Shabbos, meaning that there is nothing to adjust, right? So which is safe. Right, so he cannot stoke them later. Okay, continue. Even if the coals are not removed, so we just push them to the side and put ashes to cover with the ashes, the blanket, ketuma, right, ketuma, before Shabbos. They're partially, thereby partially extinguishing them. So I mean, it's still going to cook, but you show with your action, it's not my intention to cook. It is also permitted to leave food in the oven. So again, so when you going to remove the food, it's not going to disturb any coals. Okay, commentary. Nowadays, when the food is left left on a range on Shabbos, this generally be accomplished by placing blech on a metal sheet on a range in order to cover the flame. It is preferable that nuts also be covered as well. See Igras Masher, Rechaim 1, chapter 93. I mean, in the story, if you go to the story, there are two kind of blechs, right? First of all, it comes by the sizes, like whatever size you need. But some blech it's like straight, that's what we have, and some it's like bended. Bent like there is the sleep or some whatever you call it, right? And it's going to cover all of this, all of the knobs. So of course we have to be careful that this piece is not going to touch the knobs. Otherwise, if it's hot, it's going to burn them, like damage them. I mean, we never ever like touch the knobs ever. Nobody, never ever. Like I'm not sure why. I don't know. Like everybody is aware what's going on, right? So some blech is enough basically. But if a person is uncomfortable, like they might forget or something. So some people put like aluminum foil. Some even what they do. I mean, I don't know what. So what some people do, they remove the knobs completely before Shabbos, and some of them may be easier to remove. I was trying to fix a stove like some time, like old one, not this one, old one, and it was not such an easy thing to remove the knob. You have to push this, that. I mean, it's a big deal, right? But that's what we do today. Okay. So minimize the flame, flame. Serves as an indication that he has no need for the heat of the coals, okay, and thus will not inadvertently to stroke them later. So if I do not care, so meaning if this dish, whatever dish is it, I need it only for a morning. So morning, well, especially especially today in the winter. So we set down like the slow cooker for 18 hours, like any food like would be ready in 18 hours. So there is for sure there is no problem. In summer it's a little like less. I don't know whatever hours is it, 14 hours, like whatever hours, right? Much less hours, but right, but even it's 12 hours for sure. Whatever you put raw food. Raw food it's going to be ready in 18 hours. So meaning there is no reason for us to do anything to add heat. Another methods of ensuring that one does not adjust the flame is to leave the food in the oven and seal the oven door. And they usually actually some of them seal the door with a clay, and some of them would seal the door with a door. I don't remember what they do with the door. I mean, it's not enough. It's not the temperature is not hot enough to cook it. I'm not sure they did something with the door, but I would not remember. Right. So, but with the clay, a little easier. So, meaning at the end, like you would be allowed to break it because like this seal. But this seal is going to be a reminder for everybody. Right. Just 1 second. Just to permit for okay. So continue. This two is this two permits one to leave the food over the fire to cook on Shabbos. Meaning everybody know nobody is going to open the door and start tasting the food in the middle of the night. There are cases, however, when neither of these methods is required. As Kitzur explained the following to Sifim. Okay. Regarding so now we're going to start to Kitzur. Regarding the practice that we store the food to be cooked in the oven for Shabbos day meal, it is a common custom, even though the opening of the oven door is not sealed, it's literally with clay. It is permitted practice. So meaning that they store this food on Shabbos to cook, right, in the oven overnight, even though they do not seal the door. Commentary. Stowing, chatmana. Oh, chatmana. So stowing, chatmana is stowing. It's what is it? Chatmana, I think, is insulation. Method here refers to keeping food in place, but it remain hot on Shabbos. It is not to be confused with you see, it is not to be confused with the same term. Okay, same term. You see, below that means insulation. So same word. So stowing here is to store, right? To keep the food, but it's exactly chatmana. So that's why I got a little confused. Chatmana is in insulation. Okay, no problem. So they would allow us even without using this claim. And commentary number 80. This food, when the food such as meat, which takes a long time to become edible, is put into the oven for Shabbos day meal, right? One may leave it in the oven without removing or covering the coals. It's very interesting. So even not covering the coals, why? Because there is no need. Like you're not going to eat it in the middle of the night, hopefully. Right, hopefully, but you're going to eat it during in Shabbos morning, or to seal the oven door, right? For since it will not be ready and for a night meal, for sure not, right? In any case, and by the time the day meal arrives, it certainly be cooked even without stroking the fire, right? I mean, right? So it's going to be ready. Like because of that, it would take such a long time. There is no reason for anyone to stroke the flames to hasten the cooking, right? So, meaning you don't need to add any efforts. It's going to be cooked by itself. See Shulchan Aruch 253.1. Mishnah Berurah 253.10 writes that this permitted only when the meat is put immediately before Shabbos, meaning it's not cooked completely. It's not cooked at all. However, if the meat was put in early in the day, he must remove it from the fire, meaning the main idea is not to have any chance that this meat would be ready for a Friday night meal. If a person say, oh, it's almost ready, like let's wait maybe 1 hour, and then guess what, 2 hours, and then guess what, and it's not 2 hours, and they want to do like hasten the cooking, and they would do like at the fire or steer it or do something else. So that's the thing. But if you did it, as he said, right before Shabbos, for sure it's not going to be ready in any time soon. In modern ovens, cooking takes place much more quicker, right? And even if the meat is put immediately before Shabbos, it may still be ready that evening. I mean, I understand what they're saying, but not if you put it in a slow cooker mode, right? If it's slow cooker, it's not going to be ready. A halakhic authority should be consulted. Okay, we just said regarding as to whether this halakha is relevant today, right? I mean, there is such a thing. For example, if you have a multi cooker and you have the pressure cooker, so pressure cooker meaning it's going to cook very fast. I'm not sure how fast, but in our meat, yeah, there is no problem. It could cook meat very good in 1 hour. Right, but if you select the slow cooker, it's not going to be ready. Nevertheless, foods that already somewhat cooked may be permitted. Okay. So 80. Continue. It is forbidden to open oven door at night, right? So meaning at night. So I mean by the morning, coals most likely to extinguish, right? Because perhaps there are pots inside. So in general, he said that it's not allowed to open the oven door at night, where contents are not fully cooked, right? And by subsequently closing the oven, the oven, the temperature will rise and will cause further cooking. You open, you close. That's the thing with the current ovens. I mean, I never looked into this like Shabbos mode. Maybe there is whatever he explained to us in maybe like it was many years ago. The new technology they have, but still you have to, like, even in this if let's say if you're allowed to put something inside of the oven, you have to put black. You need to cover the fire completely. Not right. So I'm not sure. That's too much. Okay, but I know that some people do that. Whatever they do, I'm not sure, but we would not recommend. I mean, the much simpler solution for sure, 100% kosher. But if you open the door, like if it has a Shabbos mode, so if it has a Shabbos mode, meaning what? That you open the door and the flame is exactly the same. Let's say the temperature dropped in 50 degrees. I'm just making up, right? 50 degrees, and it's not going to ignite right away, but it has like this random mode. So it's going to ignite like 5 minutes from now. Let's say 3 minutes from now, right? But still, like, because of your action, something happened. I mean, of course, it's cool, like some ideas as in refrigerator, but okay. There are much simpler solutions than this oven. So continue. Therefore, if the food in one's oven was not totally cooked before Shabbos, and then one must be certain that the food inside the oven has become completely cooked before he opens close the oven door, right, on Friday night. Okay, so very simple. An oven in which there is a fire, may also not be open or closed, right? So as we understand, since the flames thus extinguish or kindled. I mean, today it's a little simpler, I would say, because as I said, the Shabbos mode, maybe it's not going to go automatically on or off, right? Not off for sure, but on, right? That's the only thing. Well, even off, like if it's for example, if you set it to 180 degrees, whatever, 200 degrees, right? And then it got to up to 200 degrees, then guess what? It's going to shut off. Well, that's also a problem. So, but it shuts off, but they did indirectly. Okay, never mind. With regard to the more modern ovens, one must also be certain that no melacha, such a light going on in the oven or in a control panel. Right, so usually if they have Shabbos mode, that's what they do. That's what they have. Or what else? There's some kind of lock also. I mean, child-proof lock or something. I don't remember, but there is like similar to Shabbos mode activities. Okay, non-active functions. So, but of course, the light cannot go on. Halachic authority familiar with technology aspect of the oven must be consulted. So today, many companies start making this technology for in refrigerators. So meaning what? So if you have ice maker, is going to be off, of course. Like all lights is going to be off, right? So it's automatically. So you just press few buttons and it works. And some I was actually help somebody, right? Person, one person. Then I start suggesting other people. Just look online whatever people suggest. So in order for you, when you open the door, for the light not to go on, and there is no Shabbos mode, but there is a switch, and you see we had the all refrigerator. It's very very straightforward. There is a switch, like you push in, and it's going to stay like the light is off. You open the door is on. So you put tape, masking tape, basically, and you that's it. You're good. But in that this guy's refrigerator, like more modern thing, and there's no switch on the door. You open the door and the lights go on. So, but I looked up on the internet, and one nice Jewish person said that where you have to put the magnet. So you put the magnet in specific place, and it's actually turns off the light. I mean, even if a person's not Jewish, you just I guess if you enter in the internet your refrigerator model, if you don't have like switch like button switch the old style, and see what is the switch for inside light and right, and I think you can turn off with the magnet. That's how it works. All right, so let's stop here.